Hey, am I live? Am I live? I don't know. Um, Hi everybody. It's just a brown girl, and I am coming to you for the first time, scared as ever. I'm doing this podcast. Why am I here? Everybody and their brother has a podcast, right? Um, I don't know. I feel like I'm an artist, and well, I am an artist, and it's really, really hard these days to actually just be an artist. You have to sell yourself as well, and I've never been really great at that. So this is my attempt to, just introduce myself to the world and to stop making art in a vacuum and letting people know that I'm out there and what I'm doing. And, hopefully there'll be something interesting. Hopefully, this channel will evolve into some kind of discourse about art, about where we are, as a society at the moment. We'll see we'll see where it goes from there. Okay. Let's see. What I have behind me is a map of a world called Zendar. It is the world in which the characters live of these books that I'm trying to produce. The series is called The Seven Citadels. The first book is called Prince of the Godborn, and I've made it you know, the bucket list. I made it my bucket list to get these movies made in grand fashion before I kick. It's the one thing that I always wanted to do, and that's part of what's going to be happening on this channel. There are going to be a couple of things that I'm going to be doing. Let's see. I wrote this stuff down so I wouldn't annoy people. Uh, so at least I have some semblance of order. This is my first time doing this. I'm so nervous. I am not on camera talent. So really nervous about this, but feel free and do it anyway, right? Um, you're going to find a couple of things in this channel. You're going to find some movie reviews. I like to try and stay in line with the zeitgeist and figure out who's seeing things and what things are popular, and pretty much giving my 2 cents because I know everybody has an opinion about movies and if they're good or bad, etc. But this is, my way of saying, putting my 2 cents in, because I feel like I usually have a pretty different take than anybody else. I tend to be a lot more gracious. I take it from the perspective of the filmmaker because I am a filmmaker, and the perspective is that no one wants to make a bad movie. There are things that are successful and there are things that are unsuccessful in endeavors, and that's what I'm most interested in exploring. That, and was I entertained? um so that's we'll be looking at reviews. I may have a couple of friends chime in and give their 2 cents of uh things that they've seen, and hopefully maybe we'll be starting something else and doing more uh sort of group chat things. I'm still learning the technology, don't know a lot of stuff. Just assembled this microphone and I'm hoping it's working. I'm hoping it's working. It says it's plugged up. And it sounded better than the first test that I had, so it's pretty good. So you're going to get some movie reviews. They're going to be sort of canned things to just make sure that, just to make sure that there's something happening on the channel. And please, by all means, let me know what you think of the reviews. Uh, I am a filmmaker. I have produced several shorts with friends of mine. I've produced several web series with friends of mine, um, uh, who are who now have distribution on TV. So uh, and I am a editor first. I've been editing, most of my career. That's how I started out, in this industry. I figured out that I wanted to be an editor, and I moved to California, and that was my first love because editing is the best job in the world. It is the last rewrite. It's being the director and the writer and the the producer all in one. It's the best of all. It's the best job. It's the best work if you can get it. So, um, I am a filmmaker, and I have, on my own, produced 2, feature films. One you can find on, the internet for free if you look hard enough, and one you can find on Amazon right now. And because the first film was I did back in 2008, and it's pretty esoteric, so didn't really find an audience, couldn't really find distribution. It was a different world in 2008. It was a different world in 2005. It was a different world in 2010. The landscape changed so quickly in terms of movie making and people's access to movies and people's ability to make movies. So um, it was a pretty tiny esoteric film called The Road to Sundance. I still laugh when I watch it. So I think at least that there'll be some fun things in it for people. So I'm going to be breaking those down, and talking about my experience of making those feature films. Uh, Hopefully, it'll be useful to somebody. Um, so there's that. I'm calling them movie memoirs. So look for those. It's me sitting down and talking about doing commentary on the 2 films that I did. One is a tiny rom com, uh, and one is a LGBT romantic drama. That one is called Better Half, and that one's the one that you can find on Amazon. You can find it on Google Plays, most places. It's actually playing in the Golden Gate International Film Festival's Best of series that's happening through Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. They took the top 10 20s out of the last 10 years that they've been running the festival, and they're putting them up to see, for a run. They're putting them up to do another contest, and for another run for people who missed it the first time to get a chance to see it this time, because not all those films got distribution. So I'm going to be, breaking down those movies, breaking down my 2 features, talking about them. What were some of the challenges? What were some of the things that are impossible? And most importantly, the things that I learned that I still think are universal. There are things that, there's standard def, and then there's digital, and now there's HD, and now there's 2K, and now there's 4K, and there are all sorts of things, all sorts of advances happened in technology. Uh, um, that make it seem like we were doing we were doing movies in the Stone Ages. Um, but these particular films, I think anybody can learn something from them. Even if you're a first time filmmaker, there are things that are universal. There are challenges that are universal. So I'm going to share those with you and the movie memoirs segments. Um, uh, Better Half made it into 12 festivals around the world. We went to Sydney, Australia. We went to Mumbai, India. I went to Canada for the first time. So this little film that could took us all around the world. We had festivals sprinkled all around the world. And I'm going to try and talk about each of those festivals. I run a film festival called Broad Humor. And it's a comedy festival featuring writing and films by women. Um, as much as some things change, they stay the same, right? Meaning, um, it has always been difficult to get into festivals. Always. Um, I have a belief that the festivals are about 3 things. They're either about philanthropy. They're about making sure that we can get we can get artists opportunities. They're about commerce. It's about making money. Let's see, what's this? Is it philanthropy? 3 P's: philanthropy, profits. Oh man, I forgot the third one. But anyway, I know there are 3 tenets. I will figure out what they are because I wrote them down. So of course I didn't write it down, but there are 3 tenets, and I tell people all the time, I'll figure it out, and that'll be a different segment. But basically, I run a festival, and I think it's interesting to see how other people run their festivals. So I'm going to try and break down once a month. I'm going to try and break down the different festivals that we went to and my experience in them, and what I learned from them. I mean, there's always this separation of expectation from what actually is the experience, and sometimes this is hardening for people, but sometimes you need to anticipate what you can expect out of those experiences. I'm gonna turn the music down just a little bit. Um, yeah. Oh, do you guys like the music? I just grabbed a couple of songs to try and keep it interesting. It's all production music, so hopefully this won't keep me from getting this won't demonetize me. So so the circuit is another set of videos that I have planned for the channel. Um, I went to England a few years ago, right before the pandemic hit, right before it hit. Over Thanksgiving, I went to England. Um, there are these books that I read as a kid that I've always, always, always wanted to make into movies. I always said if I was going to turn any books into any writing into movies that wasn't my own writing, it would be these books. And I finally got up the gumption to uh, email this author. I'd had her email. It hadn't changed in years. And I've always wanted to contact her and talk to her and see what she thought about me trying to make these books into movies. They're really great books. And she said yes. Um, so that's kind of been my bucket list goal, for the past couple of years. I've been developing these stories, the Seven Citadels series. Um, those are development diaries, and I'm going to be breaking down, what I'm doing with each thing. I mean, it's there's an interesting thing when you think about Project Greenlight because it lets you into the process of how movies come to be made. Um, I know people know about production, they know about marketing, and they know about what the delivery. They know about what happens once it gets to the theater, but there's this whole other world of how do you get your movie to have a life. I've done work, but I'm not an insider. That's part of what this channel is about. This channel is about me trying to get myself on the radar. Um, so that people know that I'm out here and I'm doing good work, and I need partners to work to my fullest potential and make these incredible movies so I can die a happy woman. So that's what development diaries are about. I'm going to be breaking down what I'm doing this week, why I'm doing it, what part of the process of the film process, making process it is, and hopefully we'll have a few people on to talk with us about what their part is. I have a dream list. I have a wish list of uh, authors and actors and DPs. I have a whole list of people that I really, really want to work with. So hopefully, um, we'll get some of those guys in, and we'll use this channel to make a connection to hopefully get these movies made. So development diaries. I'm gonna let you guys in on the process and what I'm doing to try and get these films made. Um, and finally, there are going to be some segments called "The Story of a Prince." And basically, I want to acquaint the world, and acquaint the audience, anybody who's listening, with these books, these wonderful, wonderful books um, uh, about yeah, an unlikely hero, about a young prince in a fantasy land who is the youngest in a dying dynasty, and he's literally the last hope, of this particular dynasty, this aristocracy. And sometimes he holds that in high regard, and sometimes he kind of abuses it. So, um, I'm just looking at my volume now. I'm wondering if you can hear any of this. Can you hear any of this? I wonder. Anyway, so I'm hoping you can hear it. It's part of this. Um, so basically, I want to break down the characters. I want to let people know who these characters are and how I see them and how I interpret them. And you know, there's a great YouTube channel called Quinn's Ideas, and he's kind of the model that I'm following in terms of breaking down characters and letting people know about the mythology and about the world. And it's yeah, I'm hoping to get some heat, you know, behind these particular characters and um, behind possibly getting these movies to the big screen. It is going to be a long and hard trudge. I know. Yeah, I mean, it's hard enough making independent films on your own. Um, but yeah, I want to play with the big boys. I want to play with big money. And I want to make incredible movies. So hopefully, um, you know, someone will see me and someone will go, "Hey, we're going to take a chance on her." And when they do, I'm going to make them a ton of money. Mm. There's this whole school of thought where you can't just do one thing. You have to do lots of things. You have to create different properties and explore different mediums just to circle back to the medium that you want to participate in. I want to make movies, but most people say, if you're going to make movies, if you want to make a movie, then and it's on a property. First thing you should do is you should make a graphic novel. You know, create ulterior, I guess profit streams, and in the same time building your audience. So that's sort of the point of these movies, of these of the story of a prince segments. So those are coming. Um, so that's kind of it. That's what we're going to be doing. Should I lean in more? I'm looking here and I'm seeing that it's turning green a little more, turning green a little more, turning green a little less, turning green a little more, a little more, a little more, a little less. Anyway, okay. Can you tell it's my first time? So happy no one's watching. Happy and not happy. Happy, not happy. Um, yeah. So on to the title of the onto the title of the thumbnail. Um, Project Greenlight, by any other name. Um, so I have a friend on YouTube. We've gotten to know each other. He has a fairly, healthy channel, and we've gotten to know each other a bit. Um, and he's really complimentary. And I asked him for help. I'm like, look, um, I'm trying to do this thing that kind of models my date with Drew. I want to put it out in the world that I'm a filmmaker and I would love to work with these particular actors and these particular filmmakers to get these movies made. And maybe, just possibly, we can get the script to the people we need to get it to by 6 degrees of separation. That's kind of the premise of my date with Drew. My date with Drew was a lovely Jewish boy who had a crush on Drew Barrymore. I was a really big fan, and he got it in his head that he's gonna spend $1,100 and 30 days to try and get a date with Drew. Not really a date, sort of, just coffee, because she was involved at the time. This movie is maybe, what, 11 years old? 15 years old? Um, and it was really sweet. And I'm not an actor, and he's clearly an actor. He's clearly somebody that's comfortable, being, on camera. So and I'm clearly asking for something different. I'm asking to be, uh, I'm asking for a business relationship. I'm not asking for coffee. I'm saying, look, let's work together for 5 or 6 years and make an incredible amount of money and do art. My ask is enormous. Um, but just getting a script to a person should be possible, right? It should be possible. At this day and age, I mean, at the time of My Date with Drew came was, sort of in the works. I'm messing with the audio. Internet was just blowing up. I mean, having a website was a big thing. Not everybody had a website. It was a huge thing to have a website. Um, so, uh, and this particular friend, so I'm like, this is what I want to do, and I wanted if you can help me sort of work on something called Development Diaries, so you can sort of work on the process. He's a filmmaker as well. He's a YouTuber, but he's a filmmaker as well. And I'm like, look, we'll talk about your stuff one week, we'll talk about my stuff the next week. We'll get help from the community in terms of getting done what we need to get done and reaching the people that we need to reach. Um, but we should use this to make art. Um, he happens to know the people who did My Date with Drew, and he called them. He called one of the producers like on the spot, um, which was incredible and amazing. But that was like a month ago, and I'm really nervous that he's forgotten about it or he's gotten too busy, and then I'll be on my own again. But um, when he was talking to her, we there it was part of a sort of a group Zoom and a private group Zoom, and we listened to the conversation. She's like, "Oh, it sounds like something like a Project Greenlight on YouTube, right?" Uh, which and I'm like, "Yeah, that makes sense. It really does. It sounds right. It sounds like what I know of Project Greenlight." So she seemed to be down, and hopefully that is still coming. But who knows? This is the internet, and this is Hollywood, and people are fickle. Um, and people have priorities, and I'm still a nobody until I'm somebody, right? Um, so hopefully that'll still happen. Um, because it would help me out a lot, and I think this project would be amazing for the people that I have picked out. I've got a whole plan. Okay, I know I sound just like Richard King, right? Uh, Richard King, King Richard, yeah. Richard Williams. Did anybody see King Richard? Amazing, really well done, really well done. Um, Maybe I'll review it. Um, but it's been a couple of weeks since that conversation, and I'm starting to get a little worried about it. But then I'm thinking, she said it sounds, and I'm trying to think of a name. I mean, Development Diaries is good, I think, but it should be more. It should be more on the nose. It should be closer to what she said. It should be, Project Greenlight on YouTube. And then I'm thinking, I've never watched Project Greenlight, so maybe I better see what the hell I'm talking about. So I'm like, Mom, okay, I want to watch Project Greenlight. So, and the only thing on HBO Max was season 4, and I had sort of kind of heard about season 4 because it was highly controversial. Um, and it was how many years ago? It was 2015, so 7 years ago, and there was some controversial things that happened, and we're just like, let's just watch it. And the controversial thing that I heard about happened in the first episode. Man, um, we sat and watched the whole season. I think what there were 9 episodes, 8 episodes, 9 episodes. Getting pissed and pissed and pissed. Uh, the first episode, I'm like, the character, the film Project Greenlight, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck um, used their pull with the studios to create an opportunity for a filmmaker. A filmmaker gets to write and direct a film. In this instance, uh, the the filmmaker just he gets to direct the film. But ultimately he ended up writing it anyway because he kind of manipulated the whole process. And God bless. I mean, if someone says yes to you, there's an adage: don't take no for an answer. I mean, it works for some people, and it doesn't work well for others. It worked for him. And it was good TV to tell him yes, while, other people who were trying to stay in budget were telling him no. But I digress. I had never seen Project Greenlight, so I'm like, I should watch it to see what I'm talking about. We get through the first episode. We get through the first episode, and I'm thinking, this guy must be an actor. He has to be an actor. There's no way on God's green earth that, you know, this production team, this contest would pick this person. This person who doesn't seem to want the opportunity. This person that doesn't seem to, be grateful at, for anything, you know? Um, it was the worst, you know, display of, here it comes, entitlement and failing upward. Um, yes, you need to stick to your guns. Yes, you need to stand up for yourself. Yes, you need to have creative integrity. Um, but at the same time, you need to, as a filmic, film is a collaborative art. That's why it's so hard. It's because you have to get a majority of people to agree, right? Um, and this filmmaker was just not concerned about that at all. And he was empowered um, by other people in the show, that, wanted to always enable him as an artist. Um, but I feel like uh, that enablement went beyond. Uh, it threw some people under the bus. And I think the process was, mangled. It I mean, that's not how you make movies, right? Um, and you can tell by, it was been 7 years, and just, have you seen this guy's credits on IMDb? Um, yeah. So it was frustrating. Um, but it was kind of, it made sense to liken it that to have an audience look into the process of how movies are made, how decisions are made when you're making a Hollywood film. Fortunately, I did some digging and I found season 1 on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. Um, and season 1 was so much better. Season 1 made so much more sense. Season 1 sort of reflected issues that I had, as a filmmaker, as an independent filmmaker with no money. I mean, you still run into the same problems. That's my liquid courage. Um, like locations, like casting, and we're going to find somebody for this person because we've already scheduled the days that they have to shoot. Um, so season 1 was way more documentary, and that's what, this show pretends to be. The first season was documentary. It was pretty much, this is how things happen. Season 4, the first one we watched, was reality television, and nobody can convince me differently. There was casting. They picked him because he caused the most drama. They chose an antagonist and painted that person as an antagonist for the show. Um, and I really, really hope that that person got a crap ton of money for it. And I really, really hope that that person agreed to play the antagonist with the understanding that this is not documentary, this is reality television. Um, there's have to be things that are unspoken, right? That are agreed to, like, just like wrestling, just like professional wrestling. Things are agreed to. Even how they have to be agreed to, even because, I mean, it's just too extraordinary for this thing to be happening, right? So, yeah. So I just thought that was really interesting. Um, I'll talk more about, Project Greenlight. I mean, I'm 7 years late. Um, but there are issues that persist, you know, um, and to know who I am as a filmmaker, you have to be able to know me and some of my opinions on some things. So these things, they'll come up and we'll talk about them. That's for later. Um, and it has been 30 minutes. I told myself I would try really hard to do 30 minutes, and I think I did 30 minutes. I made it. I'm going to do this every Sunday at 10. Uh, I hope you'll join me again. Um, and I hope you enjoy the content that's coming because it's going to start coming. And I made a promise to myself, and we're going to make sure that we get stuff out there for you guys. Yeah, let this be an artist space. I want to hear about your projects. I want to talk about your projects. I want to know how we can help each other. Um, we'll talk about the film festival that I run, but mostly there's a I used to be part of a collective called Filmmakers Alliance. And basically it was filmmakers from all walks of life, they they just help each other out, they talk about each other's projects, they support them, they find a way to enable each other uh, in their endeavor to make art. Um, and if this YouTube channel can be a space for that, that would be amazing. I am happy to enable that. Um, You know, if you wanna go fast, go alone. If you wanna go far, go together. So, yeah, looking for my tribe. Um, so we can talk about making cool bleep together, right? Keep making cool bleep until somebody notices, right? Alright, that's it. I'm done, I'm out of music. Um, we'll see how this turns out. I don't know what's gonna happen with the sound. We'll see how this turns out. Um, I'm having my, thank you guys for stopping by or watching after the fact. Um, and we'll keep it rolling. Um, yeah, I haven't figured out a cool sign off yet, so uh, I'm just gonna say that uh, I've got a great project um, that I'm hoping I can manifest for the world to see because it's going to be brilliant and it's going to be important, and it's going to be the best escape that people have had in films for the longest time. And I'm a really, really great bet. So hopefully, um, someone will put some money down that, put some money to bet on Just a Brown Girl. All right, that's it. I will see you guys next week. Bye. End stream.